I'll tell you what's fascinatingly interesting is that Donnie Darko's release at Sundance 2, our New Year's Day potential event, is 9/11 days fused with 11/3 days. And so we know all about how 11/3 is the opening of One World Trade Tower, November 3rd. The mirror of that is March 11th, so 3/11. 3/11 on a calendar is opposite 9/11. 9/11 was all about the rising because September was once the seventh month. So 7/11, and most countries write the date backwards, 11/7, which is the rising out of the pit Bible verse. Now that's taking place during God's wrath, and but it does have Apollo, Abaddon, Apollyon, and Trump has portrait of Apollo in his penthouse. Um, I think it's driven by Aurora or carried by Aurora or led by Aurora. And we know the Aurora, Colorado murders on the Dark Knight Rises at the movie theater. Uh, that's up to you whether you want to believe that was an actual real event or not. And we know that James Bond, when he went to Shanghai, see Tuesday Bible Study, Trey Stokes Daily Bible Studies, we proved to you that there was an Aurora building in Shanghai because I remember watching Skyfall and saw the big, gigantic Aurora. It was nighttime, but it was lit up. You could see Aurora. And James Bond and Batman, they all represent the Antichrist. So there it is, 9/11/3 or 9/113 days from the Donnie Darko date to New Year's Day. It is a very high watch day for us. Doesn't mean anything is going to happen on that day, but as of right now, that is definitely front and center for us. See previous video where we showed you how iPet Goat definitely tries to lead us down that path. Um, the other Donnie Darko wide release to New Year's Day is 8833 days. 8,833 days. Hmm. Well, that's pretty interesting, eh? So we start going through Conor McGregor, his birthday, when you run it to the rising day. Remember, he is Notorious, which was the song played by Duran Duran, featured in Donnie Darko. 13,688 days on the rising day. Yep, that's pretty interesting, eh? And boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's keep going. Um, what was 12/16/2022? I can't remember what that was. Can't remember. Um, 12/23/1969. Can't remember what that was either. Let's come on over here. Bob Seger turned the page. I think that's, I don't know. Um, yeah, these are just personal ciphers that I went through. Um, the Beatles, you always want to take a look at the Beatles. But let me see here. What else? Let me pause, find something more juicy for us. Hang on. There you go. So I saw this on Instagram about Steve Spurrier. And of course, he's the first of the seven kings of Mystery Babylon when they give you the ritual through the University of Florida, because in the film The Devil's Advocate, they went and plucked him out of Gainesville, Florida. In Gainesville, I mean, the Gators represent Devil's Advocate University, just like Alabama is Ghost in the Machine University or Satan in the Technology University. Their big fraternity there is called the Machine. The elephant horn blows when they score a touchdown. So the horn represents the Antichrist in the book of Daniel. And so they blow the horn every time Alabama scores a touchdown. And Ohio State, the eye of the buck, the Buckeye. You know how they always feature the buck, like in James Bond's Skyfall or in the film Get Out. So when we ran Spurrier September 12th, 1976, when you run that to New Year's Eve, you get 187. It's right there, 18,007 days. Drop the zeros, 187, and you got 007. So that Spurrier to the New Year's Eve potential event, that is a big deal. What else? What else? What else? What else? Dun, 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 dun. So, do y'all remember where I posted in my videos when the right eye wound, excuse me, when the paper airplane flew into my right eye on 12/17/2021, and came home and documented that, and then documented also when the gate busted my right eye. And they were 130 days apart. The right eye gate was on April 26th, 2022. I went ahead and did the numbers on those days. Just multiplied them out like 12 times 17 times 2021. And I actually got a date of December 2nd, or what was it? January 22nd, 1984. January 22nd, 1984. And then the right eye wound, when my right eye was busted at the gate, excuse me, gave us a date of February 21st, 1988. So I went ahead and ran those dates. Where are we at? So the January 22nd, 1984 to the rising day, it is 15,322. 153 fused with 322. The skull and bones date, it's also 2,188 weeks. I just thought that was interesting. And then the 221/88 date to the rising day is a palindrome, 13831. And 138 is his name in simple gematria. No middle name, no middle initial. I thought that was fascinating also. Yeah, when you run them to each other, yeah, it's 357 begins the hours, which is the amount of verses in the book of Daniel. There's a midpoint day between the two dates, which is 2/20/2022, so nothing but twos. When you run the January 22nd, 1984 date to that date, you get your 399, which is murder in the Jewish Hebrew gematria, is 13,909 days. So 1 399 is murder in the Jewish Hebrew gematria. And it's 33 years, 11 months, 30 days. So you have 311, 11/3 coded in that also to the other date, to that midpoint of both events. Drew Barrymore, February 22nd, 1975. Yeah, I ran myself to her because my name comes to her. My name comes to her name. And 4979. And I'm a teacher, and she's a teacher in the movie. That's pretty interesting. My name comes to 1117 also. But where is the Drew Barrymore? I can't remember if that's with my middle initial or not. I think that's with my middle initial. Yeah, that's with my middle initial. So we put the J there, and then you'll see the Drew Barrymore pop up. I'm scrolling fast because I feel like my eyes would just pick it right up. And I want to say it's in the Hebrew gematria. There it is, Drew Barrymore in the Jewish Hebrew, which is the most biblical. Oof. So I match with Drew Barrymore in the Jewish Hebrew gematria. Mm-mm-mm. And there's your murder, 49, 79. 79 is murder in simple gematria. My birthday to her birthday, 4,979. Well, the 97th verse of Revelation is the opening of the seal, uh, which I do believe represents the deadly wound, because the 98th verse, the rider on the white horse, it represents then the rising or the crowning. Mm, 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 mm. Johnny Be Good. When we run this Johnny Be Good, which was played in, by the way, I was doing in a previous video on my Bible study channel how all these movies are about a love story because the Word of God is nothing more than a love story between a bridegroom and a bride. So in their world, um, they make all their end times movies a love story. Groundhog Day, a love story. Um, oh, Back to the Future, a love story. James Bond's Casino Royale, love story. Spectre and No Time to Die combination, a love story. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, a love story. The Dark Knight, a love story with Rachel Dawes and Batman. And The Dark Knight Rises, a love story with Selena Kyle. It's always a love story because that's what the Word of God is. It is one big, gigantic love story. So the Johnny Be Good is 24,748. Yeah. Well, we know 48 is his name in one of the four base ciphers, so it's 24,748. There you go. The other Johnny Be Good release, 24,832. That's a massive personal cipher. Not going to get into that. What else? Then I got into my parents' wedding day. Um, yeah, that was all of that. This is me getting really into more personal ciphers. Pretty much. Let me see what else I have for y'all here. Hang on just a quick second. Yeah, started running like the New York Jets and the Raiders and all that kind of stuff since that was the Heidi Bowl game. And the when they played as the Jets for the I can't remember what that is. But it has something to do with the Jets. And Jets' first game as the Jets. I believe that's what it was, or is this the Raiders' first game? It's one of them. It's the Raiders or the Jets' first ever game. And And believe it or not, on New Year's Day, it's 22,761. 761 is the amount of verses in Daniel and Revelation combined. Also a fusion of my birthday. My first address was 404, which is the amount of verses in the book of Revelation. I just showed you the 1117. I mean, the Lord certainly born me unto this earth to do what I'm doing with the end times. It's constant, it's constantly. But what is that date? I think that's the Raiders' first game or the Jets' first game. First game played by the New York Titans. September 11th. Ah, September 11th. What are the chances of that? September 11th. First game ever played by the New York Jets when they were called the Jets. Um, Let me see here. Later became the Jets in 1963. And there you see September 8th on a Sunday. Name change became the Jets in 1963, and that was the first game. September 8th, the first game. There it is, 1963. September 8th, 1963, the first game played by the New York Jets as the Jets. Yes, September 8th, 1963. So I want you to look at that. When they're first called the Jets brought down Donnie Darko, the jet engine, and the Jets brought down the twins. So on New Year's Day, coming up here, it's 22,761. Again, the amount of verses of Daniel and Revelation. Also think about 22. The 22nd prime number is 79, which is murder in simple gematria. So these are big deals all the way across the board. I call these direct smash hits. Just absolute, positive, direct smash hits. There's the first game, 9/11/1960. It's 23,853. So there's your 38, which is death and murder, and depending on which one of the four base ciphers you're looking at. And there it is, 9/11/1960, like we just showed you. Brentwood comes to 1231 in the Jewish Hebrew gematria. I clicked off that too soon. I didn't think it was anything. And Brentwood, OJ, Brentwood, Rob Reiner. Also, I lived on Brentwood. Yeah, that's just other dates I'm looking at. What else? Hang on just a quick second. The Heisman Trophy winner. I put his name in there. It does come to coronavirus. Interesting that the Heisman Trophy winner comes to coronavirus. What else? Notorious Duran Duran, October 20th, 1986. October 20th, 1986, when we run Notorious to the Rising Day, It's 14320. And I don't know. That's leaping off with personal ciphers. I can't explain to you how much that's leaping off with personal ciphers. And there's the album. My goodness. There's the album. 142.82. So it'd be 142.83 on the 83ing day. 83 is murder in one of the four base ciphers. So the Duran Duran album, 142.83. And 83 is murder in one of the four base ciphers. So check, check, double check, lots of checks. Checking off a lot of boxes here. Then you come over, I think it was something else. I don't know. So let's figure out what else we're doing here. What else are we doing? Let me look and see what else we got. Hang on just a quick second, please. So Christina Ricci, who was the bad guy in the first Wednesday series, um, she was in a movie called Black Snake Moan with Samuel L. Jackson. And I've been drawn to that movie due to a personal cipher also. Y'all would just crack up if I told you what that is. But I run that movie to the Rising Day and it's 688 2. 68 is, of course, his name in the same cipher that matches Antichrist. 88, of course, is his name in simple gematria. So it's 6882. So it's definitely a fusion of 68 and 88 to the rising day. And 68 is a reversal of 86. So it also represents rising or when Satan would possess the body. So very big deals there. Um, can't remember. What was it? Let me see here. Let's keep going. 11/11/1925 was something, and I can't remember what it was or who it was. Yeah, something brought me to that. And I can't remember what it was. Okay. So Apocalypse Now. Did we run it? May 19th and August 15th. Well, one of them, May 19th and August 15th. This is Tenet. One of the Tenets are a direct hit with a 37 progression. I think it's the 9-3 on the event day. That's 1946. So that's not what it is. And it's certainly not going to be 1948 either. No, so it is going to be the 8/26. It's going to be the premiere date. And is it on the Rising Day, 1956? No. Well, I could have been totally wrong. I could have swore when I looked it up. 1954. Let me go see if I can find that real quick. Hang on. You see it, I've got it there, tenant 9/3/2020 to January 1st, but apparently that's not it. Hang on. Already got tenant there, 9/3/2020 on the 16th. That's when it was supposed to be there. So yeah, it's just incorrectly also there. So let's get rid of it. Boop. Not a lot there for January 1st. But 30 St. Mary Act sure is, and that's the bullet building. The building shaped like a bullet in the city of London, a direct smash hit. All right, hang on. By the way, 9/11/2001 is a direct hit to the rising day of January 3rd, which is what that day was all about. So is Doug Williams' birthday, and he was featured in Donnie Darko. So those are big deals. Hmm. Shot heard around the world. Who shot JR? Frank shot in the right eye. Shot, shot, shot. Wow. The total solar eclipse of August 1st, 2008, which is when I saw The Dark Knight. On that, I think it was a Friday or Saturday. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. Mm, 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 mm. These are all big deals. All right, what else? Let me find the rest of our prep. So she played Donnie Darko's sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal, which I believe is the Maggie. The reason why the baby's name is Maggie in The Simpsons. Maggie Gyllenhaal is the only person to be in both Donnie Darko and The Dark Knight, both representing the darkened right eye wound. Her birthday is given to us as November 16th, 1977. When you run that to New Year's Day, if you include both dates, 17,579. 79 is murder in simple gematria. An extremely big deal, that is. Just off the charts, big deal. Off the charts, big deal. What else? Let's keep going. All right. So the guy that was featured, Tom Jacks, in the Heliofont video that they did pull, the Tom Jacks video, and they did a close-up of his face. I don't know if yeah, so there's my video on it. Why Jax Taylor. You see his birthday, July 11th, which is 7/11, representing the Rising, the Beast Rising, 11/7. 79 is murder, like we said, and it was Tom Jacks, come meet the boys and all that kind of stuff. When you run his birthday to the Rising Day, 169.78. If you include both dates, 169.79. Um, it's a fusion of Rachel Dawes' birthday. If you run it to the first, 169.77. We just told you her birthday is 11/16, 1977. So you see the 977 with the 16 in front of it. It's cryptic. It's a stretch. What I'm telling you is a stretch. We like to look for things more exact than that. The Tom Jacks date when you were to be able to go meet them. 6/24 to the Rising Day, 6/22 to the event day. By the way, I Pet Goat was re-released on 2/5. Is that not right? 2024? Wow, there's your 698. You're like, and it's a palindrome on the event day, 696. So if we go look at iPet Goat, I want to go find this real quick for us. Hang on just a quick second. There it is, February 5th, 2024. So it's February 5th. February 5th, 2024. We run that to the rising day. You see the 698. Now, my event that took place on Groundhog Day 2009, there's 332 days left in the year. When you run 332 times 2009, there's your 666, 9, 88. 88 is his name, 666 is his number, which comes to his name. Donald John Drumpf, when you look up SIX, SIX, SIX in the Jewish Hebrew Gematria. So you see the 698 links it all. So anytime I see that 698, I'm big on it. And there it is, iPet Goat, 698 days to the rising day. Remember, the 98th verse is the white horse crowning Bible verse. So it's another reason why the 698 is big. Trump wears the mask for the first time. 7/11/2020. So he first wore the mask at Walter Reed on 7/11/2020. When you run that to New Year's Day, if you include both dates, it's 2001, The Space Odyssey. Or it would be a perfect 2000 days. And the middle day between Death and Rising then is your 2001, depending on how you want to look at it, when he first wore the mask at Walter Reed. By the way, Ghostbusters, also in its own way, a love story. And let me see here. I will say the day my son passed is 386 to New Year's Eve. He passed on Highway 121, and it is 1 year, 21 days. But 386 is death, and murder is 38, and 86 means to eliminate. So I felt like when my son passed was the Lord sending a personal cipher to the end times. Well, you can't help but wonder that it would be possible. So when we run Apocalypse Now, May 19th, 79, let's just run it real quick, May 19th. I don't think it was the May date. That was a pretty big hit. I think it was the August 15th, which was a decent hit, if I'm not mistaken, for Apocalypse Now, which was the wide release. 169.41, 169.43. Neither one were that big. I tell you what we can do and run is the right ear event on 7/13/2024. It's 537 days. 37 is prime number for the church. And then the other event that they pulled off on September 10th of this year, there it is, 11/3. 3 months, 22 days, 322 code. These are direct smash hits. That was an assassination on September 10th, a very FAKE event that they pulled off. There's your 11/3 code right there with Skull and Bones 322 to New Year's Day. Folks, that's gigantic. I can't even tell you how big that is. That is unmercifully gigantic. Um, yep. So then we run it, the number of pages, 1,138. 138 is his name in simple gematria, September 15th, 1986. When you run that to the event day or New Year's Day, it's 14,353, 143.53, 143.55 to Rising Day. Those are really more personal ciphers than anything else. When you run the movie, September 5th, September 8th of 2017, September 5th, September 8th of 2017. I guess I didn't pull those up. Excuse me. 3037, I mean, okay, no big deal. Rothschild, I wanted to look at that. When I looked at January 1st, what was with January 1st? Year of the Dragon. Is that what we're in right now? Year of the Dragon? No, we're in the Year of the Snake. Yeah, I think. Yeah. January 1st. Anyway, January 3rd does come to Skull and Bones and 47, just like that. Also comes to End of the World. Also comes to 38 spelled out. So we've been telling you all about those. Comes to Judas Iscariot. Just lots and lots of big things this potential full moon rising day. 3/11/96. I can't remember what that was. Oh boy, it's not even to the date. Communism date. Um, you get different dates for communism or May Day. 1890, which is 49,555 days, and you get 1889, which is your first May Day, 49920. Yeah, there it is. May 1st, 1889. Yep, 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 yep. There it is. I had already run it. The movie Hard Times came up. It's free. And of course, it would be hard times once it all begins. 18,348 to the 1st, to New Year's Day. 348 is a fusion of murder and his name in the same cipher. Same cipher where murder is 34 is his name 48. It's also got 83 in there, which is also murder in one of the 4 base ciphers. What else? Can't remember what that was. And there's the Johnny B. Good stuff again, which I do believe we already talked about that here. Yep. Yep. So I think we're about done with the prep. I'm not quite sure if we got anything else that's juicy. Uh, There is a lot going on here, though, I gotta tell you. What else? Yeah, I was looking at him for a certain reason. You know, the Matthew Perry event was, should have looked at that also. Is there anything else? I feel like we've covered everything. Well, maybe except this one. So track down does have murder, 24,709, 79 is murder in simple gematria. That's the track down episode where Dr. Walter Trump, who said he's going to build a wall and save them all, is shot at the very end. So if you include both dates, you do get Eve, or Eve would be the number before the rising day. It is the eve before the crowning. That's a big deal. There's more Johnny Be Good. And so I guess I had Johnny Be Good pulled up all over the place then, maybe. Okay. Uh, James Bond. What was this here? A View to a Kill. A View to a Kill, May 22nd, May 24th, June 13th. Those were all in 1985. So what is this date? I don't remember. The Heidi Bowl 2, the New Year's Eve has the 86 in it, 20,863. If you run it New Year's Day, 20,864. Either way, you get your 86 from the Heidi Bowl, which took place on 11/17/1968. Direct smash hit. Personal cipher to the rising day, 11/5/2020. Dr. Pepper, 1885, which is the number for Dr. Pepper. Personal cipher is what that is. 1869. I think this is Heisman. Yeah. 57,050. 187 is the months, including the 187 day. For the Heisman, the first time the Heisman was given out. To the rising day, 32,898. 89 is his name in the Jewish Hebrew gematria, with and without the middle initial. It's 589, which that's the cards delivered in Casino Royale for the first time. All hearts, 589 during the big poker game. They were showing you his name without the middle initial. 1189 is his name with the middle initial in the Jewish Hebrew gematria. So 89 is always a big number. So it's 32898. With the first ever Heisman Trophy. He is man to the rising day. And that was the guy's name. And then his birthday to the rising day, 40833. It's just big. All of it's just big. This whole Philip Rivers thing is pretty ridiculous too in their fake world of fake college football. And Philip Michael Rivers, I just ran, various things that I could. Just to... All righty then. All right, everybody, that's it. That's as much prep as I got. It's good stuff. View to a Kill. We'll get rid of that. The Heisman, all that good stuff. All right, love y'all.